right, now we're going. Okay, you want to get closer to me, like we're best friends or something? Aw. Okay, you guys, welcome back to Fun on Weekdays podcast. It has been
a morning.
Quite the weekend. First of all, hope you all enjoyed your Memorial Day weekend. Hopefully you got to spend some time with your family and your friends. I had my bestie, Sara, come visit me for the weekend from Winter Park, Florida.
Yeah.
And Sara is literally my first friend that I made in Austin. So she's about to leave today, later this afternoon. And we're like, well, she has to be on the podcast before she does that. So in the meantime, it was kind of a journey to get here.
Yes.
Literally.
Quite a journey. So the running water has been out in Jenna's apartment for 2 days.
Yep.
And so Connor booked a hotel across the street. So we showered there in order to make it here to make an episode before I get out of town. And we dropped fruit on the way out. We're throwing fruit in the recycling bin. So it's been a morning, but we're here.
Yeah, exactly. Couldn't get into my computer. Just literally the list goes on and on. I feel like this is not my weekend. Also, I'm PMSing, so my irritability is skyrocketing right now. But we're here. Okay, so you guys, I wanted to introduce Sara Elizabeth. So we both moved to Austin. I moved to Austin in July of 2020, and
I moved, it would be July too. I was set to start my job on like July 28th, and they gave me 20 days to move. So I'm like, I'm literally leaving everything I know, like my family, my friends, and it was definitely really scary. And I think one of my first thoughts was like, how on earth am I even going to make one friend? Because it was also COVID. So
Yes.
I'm not going to go eat dinner by myself.
Right.
And wait for someone to come say hi.
Even the places that you could go and eat dinner were limited too. Like you had to have reservations everywhere because you couldn't just like walk in either.
Mm-mm.
So Sara messaged me on Instagram. She was my first like Instagram DM friend, really. And wait, what did your message say?
So it's actually really funny. So my cousin Meryl, she's basically like my sister. She was like honestly really worried about me because I'm like, I'm so used, like I love my friends, and I love being surrounded by people and like loving on people. So I'm like, Meryl, like I'm literally not going to make any friends. And Jenna came up on Meryl's like, it was either like her Instagram Explorer page for whatever reason, or TikTok. Meryl's like, this is fate. She's like, this girl is cute. So Meryl sends me her profile and was like, you have to reach out. I'm like, Meryl, that is so weird. Like that is so out of my comfort zone. But for whatever reason, like I just felt in my heart that it would just work out and we would get along. I'm like, this girl's adorable. We'll be great friends. And so I was like, hey girl, like
how every single message starts, hey girl, I just wanted to let you know. Literally it's either like, hey girl, want to be friends, or hey girl, I have to let you know like your boyfriend's been messaging me. It's like literally, one of the two, and thank God it was the first one.
You never know. If I'm like, I see you just moved to Austin, it seems like we're in super similar like situations. Like you don't know a lot of people, I don't know a lot of people, and it seems like we have similar interests, and I would love to just get dinner sometime. So I was like, really, like, I'm basically asking her on a date, you know?
Yeah, it was a good one. I remember too, so we went to Matt's El Rancho. I had already had plans with a couple of other girls, and I was like, you know what, let's just all get together at once, because it's way less awkward if you have like 4 people versus just one-on-one. And so I remember on the way there, Sara was sending me like a Snapchat or a picture of her outfit in the car. And she was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. And she was wearing this green emerald dress.
Yes.
I remember it to a T. We went to Matt's El Rancho, and then after that, like we honestly just became really good friends. She lived at the Domain, which is about like 15 minutes north of downtown, and I lived on Rainey Street. And so then after that, we just like got really, really close.
Pretty much inseparable. I think that was for me. Like I remember, so another kind of backstory, I made my mom stay with me in Austin for almost a month before I like released her. I'm like, okay mom, like you can go, which like honestly that's really embarrassing to admit out loud now.
No.
But I needed that comfort. And so I remember once I had that dinner set up, I told my mom, I'm like, you know what? This is just like the little boost of confidence I needed to know, like, I'm going to be okay. So I booked my mom's flight home, like, help her get home on Southwest. She does not know how to book a flight. Love you, Mom. Yeah. And then I just told her, I'm like, this is going to go great. So, but I remember I'm, like, sweating in the Uber on the way there. And I'm just, like, praying. I'm like, please let this go, okay? Because I knew I needed a friend. And, like, you pretty quickly, like, you became, like, my best friend and, like, my family here. And I knew, I knew I was going to be okay. Like, it's funny to say, but, like, as long as you have one person and we both felt that way, then you can quickly, like, together form, like, a whole group. And so it's just, like, really cool to see. Like, a few months later, we had 63 people on a boat for our birthday party. So.
Yeah, seriously, like 2 months later, because mine and Sarah's birthdays are like 2 days apart. And so we met in like the end of July, and then October, we had our birthday party together, and we just invited like a bunch of random people.
Literally.
And I think just over time, we were able to kind of like, you accumulate other friends that just like kind of align with like you guys.
100%.
So over time, for sure. But we would have so many sleepovers. And I feel like we really got close, like, during those, like, sleepovers. We would hang out literally every single night after work, like, weekdays. She would sleep over, like...
Oh, yeah. Like, on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Oh, we were talking about this earlier today, but I was like, Jenna, like, isn't it funny that we met and immediately was like, hey, girl, want to sleep over? I'm like, I hardly know you, but, like, want to cuddle? Like, because you don't really, like...
And I'm like, I don't want to cuddle. I'm not really like that. Sara Elizabeth is like, oh, give me all the love, girl. Jenna. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, we can hang out, but, like, maybe not, like, spoon tonight.
I'm all about it. Hank in the middle. Like, my dog became your dog. But it was just, like, crazy. I've never, maybe in, like, college it can be like that a little bit, but it's still, like, a little bit slower. But here, it's like, we kind of had no choice but to, like, just become super close, super fast, and, like, really lean on each other for everything.
As we talk about in the episode, Sara Elizabeth is getting married this November. I'm literally so excited. This is the first wedding of a friend that I'm in, and also just my first friend that's getting married in general. My parents have always covered the wedding gifts. So honestly, this is not only my first time being in a wedding that is my friend's, but also having to buy a gift. And if you're like me and kind of struggling with it, I've added a bunch of really good, affordable, and useful gifts to my Macy's link, which is macys.com/FOW. That'll include engagement gifts, lingerie gifts, wedding gifts, also wedding guest dresses, shoes, accessories. Literally everything wedding will be on my Macy's link because, as you know, Fun on Weekdays podcast is sponsored by Macy's. So congratulations to Sarah and Russell and all of our other summer brides that are out there. And if you're going to a wedding, don't worry, I'm helping you out. Visit macys.com/FOW. I feel like we also had a lot of things to bond over, not only just the fact that we had just moved here and didn't know each other, but also like I was still struggling with my breakup. And then you were dating this guy at the time, and like you were going through a breakup too, and we're all like, Sarah, break up with him. And she eventually did. And I remember like literally the day that I think it fully clicked that Sarah and I were like, okay, yeah, we're gonna be like best friends, was she was like going through it that day, and I came over, I was like, let me do your makeup. And we'll just like have a good time. We went to dinner afterwards, and I literally made this video on her TikTok doing her makeup, and it was to the Call Her Daddy sound. Do you know, how does it even go?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, listen the F up.
yeah. You're so like PG.
I know.
This will definitely not be an explicit episode, but we made that video. It went like pretty kind of viral, right?
Oh, like 1.4 million views overnight. It is now private, so don't go try to look it up, but I get a little embarrassed when potentially my grandmother could see that.
Because like Call Her Daddy
it was just like a little bit of like a coping mechanism, and it's so funny because on the words, I'm like, I'm just mouthing them, Mom. I'm like, I'm not saying that, but I get a call from my mom the next day. She's like, Sara Elizabeth, what is that video? I'm like, Mom, but I feel so much better. But yeah, she just like literally came over, did my makeup, took me to dinner, like bought me margs, and I was just like, you know what, like this girl, like, first of all, for the girls, but also, like, literally my sister. And so, like, just, like, walking through that season. And, like, it's the only breakup I've literally ever had where I feel like it took me, like, one day.
Yeah.
And I was fine. Because you kept telling me, you're like, Essie, like, you literally deserve so much better. And I feel like I had such a hard time in my life ever accepting, like, better for myself. Mm-hmm. And we kind of all do because... I don't know, like, you just do that for a really long time, but moving here and, like, starting a new life made it so much easier, and then finding a friend that instilled that in me. I'm like, you know what, I have the opportunity to not only make new friends, but completely start over. So it made it
Oh,
a
why
lot
did I
easier.
just got goosebumps? My hair's gonna grow back. I literally shaved yesterday. I'm gonna have to shave again.
Oh my gosh, but you really do.
I know. Don't touch it too hard. You might get cut. It's like sandpaper on my legs right now. But then after that too, like, yeah, we would have sleepovers every night, but we also have like just other things that I've never really gotten close with a friend before. Like, truthfully, in my life, I have never gotten naked in front of a friend. Like, I'm not kidding you. Even in like school for gym class, I've never. Okay, underwear, different story. Braless. Okay, I hate my boobs. And Sarah has the most perfect body I've ever seen in my life. Like, if you could make it on like a sim and then put that person in real life, it's like Sarah. And I remember there was one day we got back from the lake and we were going to dinner.
So I remember I ended up actually got bit by a brown recluse spider, but that's why I had to get in the shower immediately.
Oh yeah.
But there was like this brown thing like under my boob, and a couple days later I realized it's a spider bite. But Jenna's in the shower, and like honestly, I'm from Alabama. Like
we showered together.
All of us grown. No. We're just like way too close, and so like. You know, like, Jenna's in the shower, like, I'm not even thinking. I just get in the shower and I start showering. She's like, what the heck are you doing?
I'm literally, like, covering myself. I'm like, oh, my God.
I'm like, girl, like, we're besties. Like, don't be weird.
I didn't even, like, I mean, we knew each other, but not to that extent. I feel like that was a big leap. And then there was another time, this is embarrassing to even say, but, like, I know we've all freaking done this before. Sarah was over my place. We're, like, getting ready after the pool or something. And I was on my period, and you know when you like you know when you take a shower and like you don't take tampon out before you take a shower, and then you're in the shower, you're like, well shit, like I need to like take my tampon out so I can get like fully clean. Well, I like didn't think anything of it, took my tampon out. And it's just sitting in like the ledge in my shower, completely forgot about it. This is literally so disgusting. The fact that I'm sharing this right now.
Too open.
Sarah gets in the shower after.
Oh, I'm like washing my hair, having a good time. I go and reach for the conditioner and I'm like, Gemma, is this your tampon in the shower? She's like, oh my god, like I'm so embarrassed.
I had like a heart attack. I was so embarrassed because I mean, like, even still at this point, we were really close, but it only been, like, a couple months of us being friends, and I've never had something so vulnerable, like a bloody tampon being, like, seen by one of my friends. I'm like, okay, so we really, really, like, expedited that friendship there.
Quickly.
And then, I don't know, we just have so many, like, funny memories, because I think as we were, like, growing into adults, every single thing that we did was pretty much, like, together.
Yeah.
I don't know, we have a lot of funny stories.
So many funny stories.
The one that we know that we have to tell is the day we were so hungover.
Oh, horribly hungover, which is so funny now because like this weekend we've had like the most wholesome weekend, just like dinners and swimming. Like a year ago today, like we would have been at the bar. So first of all, growth. I'm really proud of us.
Yes.
But we're like feeling horrible about ourselves. I'm like, let's go to P. Terry's and get some greasy burgers. So we like pull into P. Terry's and there's this like random man like coming up to my window, and like I'm a little bit fearful at this point, so I'm like I'm starting to like roll up the window and I'm like looking away. The best thing I can do is just like not look. So
I'm looking out the window. I'm looking at Sarah.
I'm looking straight forward, like driving a wheel, trying to stay in the drive-thru, like not hit the bricks. This man looks her dead in the eyes.
He shoved his finger so far up his nose canal it literally probably hit his brain. And he's making like the most obnoxious faces at me right now. Gets this giant, wet, slimy booger. Like I'm telling you, it's freaking huge. And he wipes it on Sarah's window.
And like down too. Like you know that sound that's like but like with his booger. And I'm like, that is the, like literally I remember I call our friend Tony and I'm like trying to explain this story to him. And he's just like not laughing at all. I'm like,
nobody thought it was funny.
I guess you had to be there.
Nobody thought it was funny but us. So then when Sarah moved, I guess we'll have to like jump forward because now we have to give an update on what Sarah's doing now. But when Sarah moved and we were giving her a going away gift, I was like, I have to go get her a t-shirt from P. Terry's. Like, that is just one of our like memories that my mind always goes to. But truly, like when we first both moved here, we would sleep over, we would hang out every single night. But that's not to say just because we were like really good friends, we didn't also have like arguments and falling outs, because
100%.
I think looking back now, I can 100% take accountability and say, and I said this on one of my podcasts, that like she's beautiful. Like she is like everything you want to be. She's the nicest, best friend literally ever.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry.
Oh my God, don't cry. And I feel like just the way that she cares for other people and the way that she like lights up a room, it's really hard when you spend a lot of time with a person like that.
I really don't want to leave.
Obviously, you can be inspired by that person, but when you aren't like confident in yourself, it's so easy to be like not competitive, but like insecure and jealous of that person. And I think for me, like over time, the more time that I spent with Sarah, I'm like, fuck, like this is so annoying. Like I feel like shit about myself because I want to be like her. And so instead, I think that kind of like, that drove like a little bit of a wedge for sure, because I think we just started spending so much time together. And when you have a friend like that and you're not like good with yourself, like it can be really easy to like let it kind of crash and burn. And we never let it crash and burn, thank God, because we cared about each other enough that we always addressed like any argument or
every
any
time. That's what I was gonna say. Like communication was huge. But I remember the night. Sorry, I'm a little emotional right now. But I remember the night that like we solidified everything and just like put it to rest. We were both struggling with this.
Yeah.
And like kind of both like branching out a little bit, but just because like something just felt wrong. And so you drove to the Domain and we had dinner and we had like spicy margs and I gave you a facial.
Yes. You shaved my face.
Yes. And
like
it was
we
talked about everything and we're like, I just remember hugging and be like, you really are like still my best friend. And like we were both just kind of like, obviously like I'm about to move and like I'm getting married now. And so it was just like one of those things that was like so cool. Like we're both just kind of growing and like seeing that. And like in that moment, like everything changed. We just like hugged it out and we realized that we're both growing and like our own ways, and that doesn't necessarily mean like opposite directions, but like kind of, but like you support each other in that. It's like, girl, like I'm here for you, like no matter where you go, like I'm always gonna be in your life and be your best friend and like let you know that I love you like no matter what. So then I move and then I see Jenna like go through that same refining process I did, and like all of a sudden like she has a podcast and she has a boyfriend. I remember like calling you and just being like, I was crying on the phone. I'm like, I wish I was there to like see this, but I remember
I'm gonna cry now.
I just remember saying like, I'm so proud of you. Like you wanted this for so long, and I could just like, I literally was like, you're glowing. Like you just like love yourself so much more, and like you just found like you, and it was like the you like I always knew, like from the beginning. So.
I think that's a good part, is that like when we first met each other, like we knew who each other were, but then I think along the journey of like our friendship, we kind of like maybe lost ourselves a little bit.
For sure.
We were going out literally every single night. Like it was
way unhealthy.
You would sleep over like Wednesday. We would go out Thursday, Friday. We would go to like bottomless brunch Saturday, and we would go on the lake on Sunday. We would just do like so much that I think
we were so tired.
Yeah, we started like bonding over like drinking and going out, and I think that is kind of like where I lost myself for sure, which I've talked about. And also like when you're going out and your intention is like to meet guys and to like flirt with people, and you see that somebody is maybe interested in somebody else, that like gets in your head, and that can really force you to kind of lose yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
And so in the spring of last year, I remember we had this winter storm in Austin. Everybody lost power, lost water, everything. And I feel like that was kind of like a defining moment where like you kind of stopped going out as much, and living at the Domain, you like reconnected with Russell, which they're now engaged. They reconnected, and you just kind of stopped going out as much. And in my mind, I was still stuck in that pattern of going out all the time, and like I was still single, and I was like, oh, Sarah's being so boring, like she doesn't want to hang out with us anymore because she got a boyfriend. And what I failed to realize is that she just literally like grew into a different season of her life, and it was not fair at all for me to think that like she was a bad friend because she didn't want to come hang out, because it wasn't the fact that she didn't want to hang out, it was just the fact that she was no longer really interested in the things that we were doing. You know?
And it's crazy. It's like funny because I went through like honestly the same thing in college. I remember ended up like leaving like 4 of like my very best friends ever, and like they were in my wedding. But it was hard for me in college because I did lose a lot of friends, because like kind of the same thing happened. Like I stopped going out. So I feel like this would be a really good moment to tell people, like if you're ever in that phase or like scared to like do something for yourself that's going to make yourself better. Like, I've done it twice in my life, and it is so hard because you're so scared you're going to lose the people. Mm-hmm. But the people that, like...
You'll never lose the people that
are
meant
really
for you.
love you and stick for you and, like, have your best interest in mind. Because at that time, maybe you thought, like, Sara was just being a bad friend or whatever. But
no, I never thought you were being a bad friend. I just thought you were being a little boring. But now I realize.
But, you know, and so it's, like, it's cool to see, like, eventually, like, your friends kind of go through the same thing, and they come back around. And so, and that's the same thing with my friends, like, in college that maybe I did lose at one point. Like, they're all, like, back in my life now. You know what I mean? So it's, like, everything circles back around, and, like, I really miss those girls. And so, like, same with you. It's, like, seeing you, like, glow and, like, first of all, we've never, like, actually not been friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, but for sure.
Our friendship just got stronger in that, and, like, just supporting each other, like, literally crying, like, seeing her successful and, like, seeing her happy. Like, finding friends that, like, cry for you and, like, with you and, like, genuinely, like, celebrate your successes and whatever that is. Whether it's love, whether it's, like, you're exercising more, or, like, you're starting to do skincare. Like, girl, I'm so proud of you. Like, I am so happy for you. Like, those are the kind of friends that, like, you want to cling to and are actually, like, irreplaceable in your life. And it doesn't mean that it may not be, like, this up and down journey, but, like, you will find those friends. And I don't know.
I feel really like cool. A lot of people lose friends at different seasons of your life, but just because you lose them at that point doesn't mean that you guys won't eventually, like, come back and be at the same page again and then reconnect. And I think that's kind of exactly what happened for us. Like, not that, like you said, not that we were ever not friends, but we definitely started and did our own thing for quite a bit of time. And so Sara moved to Winter Park, Florida last July, right?
So I moved back home for, like, a little bit. I didn't move to Winter Park until September, but I did move out of Texas at the end of June. So, like, it's kind of like a year since we've even seen each other, but we've still, like, talked on the phone. And
and in that time, I think, honestly, taking the time away from each other a little bit more to focus on ourselves more has made our friendship that much stronger. Even though maybe we like weren't hanging out or we weren't talking as much, I feel like it makes the time that you are together that much sweeter. And especially this weekend has been, like, so chaotic, coming back from traveling and events and stuff. And I've tried to do my, like, very best to just be like, okay, she's only here for a weekend, you know, like, make the most of it. And I think sometimes you forget to do that just because life is moving so fast. You just, like, you feel like you never really have enough time.
So fast. Like, I don't know. I've been struggling with that a lot in my life. And I know I said I wanted to talk about that a little bit, but I've lived in, like, 3 states now. So it's been hard for me to, like, find balance in all my friendships, which obviously are very important to me. But I feel like something I do, and, like, this may be, like, really corny, but I have literally, I list in my journal, like, I have all my friends' names, and I write down, like, little things I think about them, and I, like pray about them for, like, whatever that may be. But if I feel like I haven't talked to that person in a while, I will literally just send them a text, and I'll, like, put a heart by their name when I do it, just like, hi, like, I'm thinking about you, and I love you. And it just reminds me, like, that little heart, literally, I'm not kidding, I've been doing this for years, but it just reminds me, like, they know that I love them, but it's just different. Like, I am in Florida, and I am about to get married, and it's, like, all of these things, but it makes me feel better because I know, like, I can be really hard on myself.
Yeah.
If I feel like I haven't, you know, communicated with a friend in a while. But people do realize that, like, you are in, like, we're all in different phases of life. Like, you've started, like, a new business and, like, done all this stuff for yourself. I started a new job, and I'm planning a wedding. So also finding friends that, understand that and support you in that and know that you love them no matter what. But find whatever that is for you, whether it's, like, writing people's names and hearts in your journal because you spoke with them that day. Even if it's, like, a hi, I love you. But finding whatever makes you, like, feel better about that and solidified in that friendship and makes you know that you made your friend, like, feel loved. So
yeah, and I can attest to the fact that she actually really does do that. Like, every once in a while I'll get a text from Sara, and every time I get that I'm like, oh shit, like, I really need to be a better friend. And I think also another thing is finding friends that make you want to be a better friend too. I mean, I've had so many, like, amazing friends in my lifetime, but I feel like Sarah is the first person that I've been like, she is so intentional in every freaking thing that she does that I'm like, how do you even have time to, like, keep up with all these people from, like, your hometown, from college, from, like, Austin, your new friends in Winter Park? Sara is, like, the best person when it comes to maintaining long like long distance friendships.
This podcast was not supposed to be about hyping me up, Jenna.
No, it is. It is supposed to be hyping you up. So Sara is getting married. Okay, wait. First of all, you have to tell the story of you and Russell.
Okay.
So people have context.
Okay, I'll keep this one short and sweet because I could go on and on about this man. But it's like really funny, kind of how it happened. But I feel like I personally in my life, like I went through a series of like really, really tough relationships, which also is a big part of me finding myself. And during the snowstorm, this name pops up on my phone. It's Russell's name, Russell Mays.
Russell Mays.
I'm like, I see Russell Mays. I'm like, oh my gosh. And it all floods back to me. I like have not seen this name in literally 7 years. But I met him at summer camp. I was 15. He was 16. We call each other like camp crushes. Is that what you call it?
An older man.
And yeah, so we like basically were like smitten at camp. We leave. We like FaceTime and was FaceTime. We might have Skyped. Like I don't even know if FaceTime was around back
then.
Skype,
Uvu.
Whatever it was, we were seeing each other. Like he met my grandmother, my mom, my dad. For like months until finally I was like, we tried to see each other, failed attempts. I mean, I can hardly drive a car, right? So I'm like, sweet boy, like this is not gonna work. But I love, I literally loved this man. I didn't tell him I loved him, but you know, in my head, I'm like, I love him so much. But I was like, I'm gonna let you go. Like I know that. I think at the time, like I know we'd taken the girl to homecoming, right? And I'm like, you like her? I was like, you should date her. So like, it was like a sense of like releasing him because I knew that at that time maybe there could be better for him, and he was like,
yeah, also just the age, like you literally, how are you gonna date somebody long distance when you can't even afford, like you don't have a job,
years.
You can't afford like a plane ticket to Florida all the time from Alabama.
And so like I ended things, and he told me, he was like, well, I gotta tell you something, but I've been holding off telling you because you're literally gonna think I'm a little weirdo. And I'm like, well, what is it? I remember explicitly to this day, I'm sitting at these railroad tracks across from my old house. I've been stuck there for like 45 minutes. Being from a small town, that'll happen to you. And he's like, well, I had this dream, and you're walking on the aisle, and then I saw us like old together, and I wrote it down, and I just know that I'm going to marry you one day. Like, you're my wife. And I'm like, first of all, goosebumps.
Mind you, Sarah's telling me that he tells her this, and I'm like, oh my god, like here we go, here we go.
And also, I'm a very helpless romantic, so she's like, literally, shut up.
No, I mean, obviously you like want to fuel it, because like when you don't have a love life yourself, you get invested in other people's love lives.
True.
So it was like an exciting time, but in my mind, I'm like, oh my god,
you're like hoping it sticks. Like you want me to be in love so bad, but like it also makes you nervous. But also, I'm like, can you be like a little cautious? Like I know that you really want to like love this guy, but also like, gosh, it's been so long. Like, what if you guys aren't, you know, like the same people anymore? 100%.
And so
that was even his fear. He told me when he reached back out. So he tells me he's gonna marry me. We're never again, like forever long ago. And I told him, I'm like, you know, if this is supposed to come back, it'll come back. Anyway, so he tells me this, and I'm like, you know what? You're not crazy. Like, if this is true, like, we'll find our way back. So when I see his name on my phone, I'm like, it all comes back to me. So I tell Jenna this. Obviously, she's, like, being cautious, but I remember, like, he called me, and we had a 3.5-hour phone conversation in the middle of a snowstorm. So, like, it was perfect. But he was like, I want to book a flight and take you on a date. I'm like, well, you know, I live in Austin, Texas, right? And he was like, yeah, like, I'll go wherever you are. Like, I'm just going to take you on a date. So he flies up, like, a month later. So we definitely had time to, like, get a little comfortable with each other. But I was definitely, like, still nervous when he showed up. But it's like we saw each other, and literally it was like time didn't stop. Like, I know that sounds, like, so cheesy. But it was definitely, like, one of those situations, like, he left after the weekend, and I told Jenna, I'm like, I'm 100%.
Oh, she told all of us. She's like, yeah, no, he
100%.
Yeah.
Like, I needed to see him in person, but even from, like, the phone calls, like, I just knew, like, I just had this feeling in my heart. It was, like, so weird, but I'd also just gone through, like, a relationship where, like, the guy was great, but it just, I knew it wasn't fulfilling all of my needs. So I remember calling my mom 2 weeks before Russell reached out, actually, and I was like, no one is ever going to break my heart again. And the next person that I date is going to be my husband. So
the rest is history.
Another moment, like when I saw his name, I was like, well, this is it. Like, I knew. So it was pretty crazy.
Well, and now they are, so y'all met in the spring of last year. They talked, they like long distance dated for a little bit. And then Sarah decided that like her time in Austin came to a close. And I mean, you loved Austin, but like to an extent, you can love a city and just realize that it's no longer like, you just don't see yourself there long term. And I think you just had other opportunities, like you wanted more out of life, and you just kind of grew out of Austin. And so you decided to move. And
it was definitely really hard. Obviously, I was super emotional when I left, and I felt like I was closing this like huge chapter of my life, which I was. Like, first of all, I found myself again here. Like, again, I went through that hard breakup when I first moved. I made all of these changes. I went through like a party phase when I first moved here, and like I'm not afraid to admit that. But by the end, it's like I feel like I truly became myself again, and and it wasn't just. It's like I became myself, like I was starting to become myself, and then Russell came along and even more so solidified, like, this is who I want to be for the rest of my life. And he pushed me even further to like the best version of myself, and like vice versa. So that's when I knew it was time. I'm like, as hard as this is, and there's going to be some hard goodbyes, I've done it before, and I know that like it's my time to do it again. And it was definitely hard, but it was like the best decision ever. And obviously now I have a ring on my finger. So.
Yeah, a beautiful freaking ring. Can we talk about the ring? Holy crap.
You did good, Russell.
Literally, I'm like, you want to just like put that, just like leave it around. Leave it around. Just not, no, I'm just kidding, kind of. What? But now Sarah's getting married. And to think about like 2 years ago at this time when we had basically just met, it's really crazy to think like how much can change in 2 years, and your friendships can change, and your relationships can change, your career can change. But truly, like if you like find people that inspire you and like just root for you, regardless of what you're going through, then those changes won't matter, because you will still always just care about each other. And I think that is like a true testament of mine and Sarah's relationship for sure. And now I'm at her wedding, and it's my first wedding I've ever been in that is like one of my friends getting married. And I'm just so excited and so proud of her. And
I'm so proud of you.
You see people like Sarah, and you just want to be like Sarah. Everybody wants to be a Sarah.
Well, stop. I love you. It's funny, like I see so many like different qualities in you too that you didn't even have like 6 months ago, like a year ago. Like no, like you just carry like a different attitude around, like a different smile around, and a different gratefulness like in your heart towards every situation. And you bring people together. My goodness, like you've changed like so many girls' lives, and confidence in the fact that now we can completely celebrate each other in every moment, and just like taking growth and like seeing each other fall in love and like celebrating that, because it's so easy to get jealous or defensive in situations when someone may be like ahead or behind you. But when you truly find yourself, it doesn't matter if
no one's ever ahead.
It's ahead or behind. It's you're celebrating that moment. And so
true.
Yeah, that's.
I love it. And I'm literally one of Sarah's 18, you guys, 18 bridesmaids. That's how many like good friends that this girl has. These are not just like random girls. She's like, hey, like want to be my wedding? These are all like good friends. And
that bachelorette party is gonna be something to talk about for like 5 years.
Oh yeah, we'll have to do like maybe another recap episode after the bachelorette in July.
Yes.
But this is the last time I'm gonna be seeing Sarah until the bachelorette, and then the wedding is in November.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to share her story and our story, because I feel like our friendship has fluctuated a bit, but at the end of the day, like we'll always be there for each other. And we were each other's like first Austin friends, like each other's family here, when we didn't have our actual like parents and siblings here itself. So
yeah, no, it's crazy. You'll literally always be one of my very best friends.
Oh, thanks, girl. So. You'll be my wedding too someday.
Thank gosh.
So Sarah has to hit the road and go see the rest of her friends that she has in Austin.
Yes.
And then she's gonna head home tonight. And that's pretty much the end of the episode, but you know what I ask at the very end every single time. What is your fun weekday activity?
So, like, what am I going to do this week that's fun?
Yeah, it could be whatever you're going to do this week, or something that you recommend other people do.
Okay, so my fun weekday activity, and I guess this would be geared towards like couples, so I'm gonna make it like a two-way thing, because if you have a friend, I'm gonna make it for you with a friend.
Okay.
But for like Russell and I, obviously our weeks are like so busy, so maybe this is you and your best friend, but we literally pick one day per week. We do this like every single week, where we go on a date and like we have like a couple cocktails and we try to go to like a different restaurant every time, or like at least rotate. But like your week gets so busy, right? And you get like, so you can find disconnection in that, or like be so focused on work or like this or that. So like we literally make it a point to do that once a week and like put our phones up and only focus on each other. So whether it's your boyfriend or your mom, or you haven't spent enough time with your mom or your best friend, find your Wednesday night, date night, and just have a blast with it and put your phone up, because you'll really connect with that person and yourself.
That's cute. I love that. And for any of our other wedding planning girlies, Sarah's 24, right?
Yeah, 24. I'll be 25 when I get married. So.
24 getting married, and she is full force wedding planning mode right now. And she was telling me earlier that she does a lot of the planning on her weekdays, so that like over the weekend she has time to like go out and go on the boat, or like spend other time with her other friends that maybe don't have time during the week. So any of my wedding planning girlies out there, I'm sure Sarah can relate to the stress of that for sure.
Yeah, hit me up.
Yeah, definitely. Just like you hit me up.
Yes.
But that is the end of the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to meet my bestie, Sara Elizabeth, and I hope y'all enjoyed her country accent as much as I do.
I'm nervous to hear what it sounds like on this microphone.
It's good. It's good. All right, bye, y'all, and I'll talk to you next Tuesday.
Bye.